My name is Anais. I'm 26 years old. I was born in Lansing, Michigan, and grew up with one goal in my head: to be somebody, not just have a career. I wanted to be known, recognized, TV presenter, prominent journalist, pretty face on prime time. The kind of person who inspires others just by walking into the studio. I know it sounds like vanity. Maybe it is. But if you had grown up the way I did, with a bitter mother and a grandmother who said that the world only listens to those with a microphone, you'd understand. I started as an intern at a local news affiliate in East Lansing. A hole, but it was something. I cut VT, served coffee, made 1,000 spreadsheets that nobody read. One day, my supervisor called me to cover a street story, just because the official reporter had a panic attack and couldn't leave the bathroom. It worked out. The next day, they put me on another one, and another. I started appearing on air. Nothing big, just 30-second clips, but I knew it was the beginning. Then I met Michael Holloway, regional director, known for being demanding, but fair. He was the type who spoke little, but when he looked at you, it seemed like he could see what was inside. The first time we crossed paths in the studio, he said, "You have presence, but you're still raw." I thanked him, not knowing if it was a compliment or criticism. He continued, "People like you want to rise, quickly. But rising has a price, and not everyone wants to pay it." At the time, I thought it was strange, but I kept it in mind. The following week, he called me for coffee. It was a small, somewhat hidden place at the end of a dead-end street. The kind of coffee shop that looks like a film noir set. Dark wooden table, jazz music leaking from the speakers. He only ordered black tea. I ordered the same. The conversation was straight. "Do you want to grow, Anais? Get to the top? Be more than the girl with expressive eyes on the weather report?" I said yes. He tilted his head, looked deep into my eyes, and asked, "How far would you go for it?" I didn't know if it was a metaphor or a proposition. I don't know. Pretty far, I think. "Why?" Michael leaned on the table and replied, as if reciting a script. "There are things that college doesn't teach. There are doors that only open when you knock the right way, or with the right words." He then took a napkin, wrote something, and handed it to me. "When you're really ready, research this, but only if you're sure." On the napkin was written, "The Farsight Circle, private forum, invite only, at Silver Mega Discord contact." It took me 3 nights to gather courage. At the end of the third, after losing an audition to a woman who used a child's voice and a low-cut top, I went. I entered the forum. It was a rabbit hole. People from all over the world. Anonymous accounts of people who made it with rituals, pacts, spells, offerings. Many were just crazy stories. Others, had details that didn't sound like fiction. There I met a user named White Terms. He told me, "Your desire can become a frequency. All you need is to tune the channel." He gave me an evocation guide for something called the frequency of the twin flame. It promised visibility, charisma, vocal memory, everything a communicator needs. It seemed like nonsense, until I did it. The ritual itself was simple, but the strangest thing, it didn't involve offerings, not even blood, just words, a mirror, and something personal that represented my voice. One chose my old recorder, the one I used in the first interviews in college. I placed it in front of the mirror, lit a white candle, and spoke the words. It was like a mantra. It sounded like Latin mixed with something guttural. On the third repetition, the candle flickered. The mirror fogged up, and my recorder started playing, on its own, without batteries. It was my voice, but not from now. It was me, at 19, nervous, stuttering, in the first street interview I ever did. And then, another voice answered. But I swear to God, it wasn't the interviewees. It was something talking to me, to my 19-year-old self. You want to be seen, Anais? Then let everyone see you. The candle went out. The recorder crackled and melted, like melted plastic, indeed. And the mirror, it had my reflection, but with eyes ... very, very open, and without blinking. The next day, the station called me. They had sent my audition tape to Atlanta Network headquarters. They wanted to see me next week. I didn't tell anyone, not even my mother. But at night, while trying to sleep, my TV turned on by itself. And in the reflection of the black screen, I swear by everything, there were two reflections in the place where I was alone. The second one blinked ... as if it was rehearsing me. After that ritual night, I spent days waiting to feel something. I don't know, that my skin would glow, that I would dream of lights, that a voice would tell me you have been chosen. But what came was silence. Silence and a strange emptiness, as if the world were breathing along with me. Like when you wake up at 3 in the morning and feel that there's someone in the room, even knowing there isn't. The call from the station came 3 days later. Anais, this is Fox Detroit. You have been approved to host the pilot program Morning State Pulse. We loved your energy. You have on-screen presence. You know, on-screen presence, words that got stuck in my head. The program was a morning talk show, focusing on quick news, celebrity gossip, and light politics. They wanted a young presenter with presence, and of all the candidates, they chose me. I recorded the pilot on a Friday. On Monday, the entire channel was already talking about me. The girl who holds the camera, the magnetic gaze, natural charisma. Only I knew that wasn't natural. It was paid for. It started with the mirror. In makeup, I noticed that my reflection took a second longer to follow my movements. At first, I thought it was sleepiness, but it only got worse. There was one morning when, while applying mascara, my reflection ... smiled. I didn't smile, I swear to God. My lips were still, but the reflection smiled. A discreet little smile out of the corner of its mouth, as if it were enjoying something. At the time, I stumbled back and almost knocked over the counter. The makeup artist thought I was startled by the tweezers. Are you okay, Anais? I didn't answer. How do you answer? The mirror is looking at me strangely. The following week, a producer died. Heart attack, they said. In the station's bathroom, locked from the inside. But the detail that gave me chills, he died leaning against the sink, with his eyes open, looking at the mirror. 2 weeks later, another member of the team, the head writer, suffered a bizarre accident. Slipped down the internal staircase, fractured her neck. They said she had felt dizzy, but I heard the rumors. She said she saw her own shadow moving when she passed by the studio windows. But here comes the worst. I started to be recognized on the street, not in a good way. A woman stopped me at the market and said, "You're the girl from the morning show, right?" "Yes, I am. Is everything all right? It's just ... There's something wrong with your look. My son is afraid of you. He says that your face is pretty, but your eyes seem to be pretending to be human." She laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. A laugh from someone who wasn't really joking. I went to Michael, the regional director, who pointed me on this path. There was no ignoring it anymore. I was freaking out. "Michael ... I'm seeing things. I'm feeling strange." He listened to me in silence. Then he said, "Do you know what a doppelganger is, Anais?" I shook my head. "They say everyone has a copy, a living reflection. But if you see your doppelganger, it's because it wants your place." I laughed. At the time, out of nervousness, he didn't laugh back. "You left the door open, Anais, when you did that ritual. And now, it's watching." That night, I dreamed about the studio. I was live, on the air, with the cameras on me. But no words came out of my mouth. Only ... The TV was broadcasting normally, with me talking, smiling, interacting. It was as if another me had replaced me, with the same appearance, but the eyes, empty, black, like a screen with no signal. I woke up screaming, and in the corner of the room, I saw the mirror. I covered it with a sheet. I couldn't sleep again. The next recording was live. Special Sunday program, high audience, premiere of the new segment with influential guests. I had everything in my hands. It was what I always wanted. In the dressing room, while the makeup was being finished, the producer commented, "You look a little down, Anais. Didn't sleep much." "Very little," I replied. But I didn't tell her the real reason. I didn't tell her about the figure standing next to my bed for 3 nights, nor about the sound of a camera filming coming from the closet. The click-click that didn't stop until I turned on the light. And, definitely, I didn't tell her that the mirror in my bathroom now shows me ... things that aren't there. I got dressed, microphone clipped on, lights on, it started. "Good morning, Michigan. Today, the special pulse brings you ... But something was wrong. Very wrong. In the camera return, that monitor that's in front of us so we can see our own image. I wasn't alone. Behind me, a silhouette standing. Tall, in a suit. Head tilted slightly to the side, as if the neck was dislocated. I turned around immediately. "Nothing there. Anais, are you okay?" I nodded, swallowing the panic. "Sorry, I just got lost for a second." I continued, the program running as if it were just another one. But every time I looked at the return, the figure was there. Closer, closer and closer. During the break, I ran to the studio bathroom. I needed to see if I was going crazy or IF. Well, if it was real. I turned on the light. I looked in the mirror, alone. But when I turned to leave, I heard a whisper. "You're taking my place." I froze. The light flickered, and for a second, just a second, my reflection turned its face, alone, and smiled. That same smile, out of the corner of its mouth, as if to say not yet, but soon. That night, I woke up with my cell phone vibrating. It was the director. "Anais, I need you to see this." "What?" He sent me a video. A clip from the program. The same segment I recorded in the morning. But in this version, the camera never cut away from me, even when the focus was on the guest. Even in the moments when it wasn't my turn to speak. The lens was watching me, as if I were the only important thing in that room. And worse. At some point, the video shows something that didn't happen. Me smiling at the camera and blinking slowly, as if I were sending a signal. But I swear by everything that I didn't do that. I never made that gesture. And you know what's even weirder? In that frame, my eyes were completely black. The next day, the technical intern disappeared. He was last seen reviewing the raw files of the broadcast. The cameras captured him going to the editing room, but no image shows him leaving. The police are treating it as voluntary escape. Only I know he saw something, and something saw him. The director called me to talk. "Anais, We need to know what's going on. What do you mean? He looked at me with a tired expression, like someone who has carried secrets for too long. We've already lost 3 employees, 1 missing, 2 dead, and you remain unharmed. And that's a problem. Yes, because Anais, you don't appear in the old recordings, the audition tapes, the previous interviews. There is no record of you before the premiere. I was breathless, speechless, as if the world had frozen in slow motion. That's not possible. He stared at me. Are you sure? That night, at home, I sat in front of the mirror. I turned off all the lights. Only the light from the hallway behind, partially illuminating me. I looked at myself. Who are you? Nothing. What do you want? Nothing. Until my mouth started to open on its own. But I wasn't moving my muscles. And from my mouth, a voice came out that wasn't mine. I just need audience, and you are my channel. I wanted to say that I left. I wanted to say that I dropped everything, that I ran out of the channel, that I burned all the symbols, that I cut the tie with the entity that fed on my ambition. But no, I went back to the studio, and the last thing I heard from the director before he disappeared was, "They want you to continue." Who? Those who are watching. Since that day, nothing is normal. There is no mirror that truly shows me. There is no camera that turns off when I press the button. There is no more deep sleep, only dreams with applause that turn into screams. The broadcasts continue, even without a script, without a team, even without an audience. Just me and them, or it. That thing that used my face, that now uses my life as an access channel. It started when I decided to go back to host the Wednesday show. Yes, I know. Why did you go back, Anais? Because I was addicted to the feeling. Because for a while, even with the horror, with the nightmares, with the voices in the dark, I felt invincible. You have no idea what it's like to have millions of eyes glued to you, even if some of them are black, deep, with the pupils turned inwards. In that broadcast, the script disappeared. The team disappeared, one by one. The camera turned on by itself, and when the red light came on, a sign that we were live, I saw, for the first time, with clarity, the audience, sitting in the shadows. There they were, not producers, not colleagues, but copies, copies of me, deformed versions of my face. Some with closed eyes, others without a mouth. One of them, paler, with marks on her neck, smiled at me with a whisper. The audience has grown. The transmission lasted 6 minutes and 34 seconds. In the original tape, which no one managed to delete, I appear staring fixedly at the camera without blinking. The lights go out. A strange noise begins to emerge, something between laughter and chewing. At the end of the video, the studio is empty, and where I was, there's only a chair turned backwards. The police showed up. They sealed the room. They isolated the area. But the next day, the studio was open again. The lights on, the camera recording, and someone presenting, wearing my clothes, with my hair, with my voice. But it's not me. Since then, every week, there's a transmission, always at the same time, always with the same face, mine, and every time, it's as if the world around goes silent for 6 minutes and 34 seconds. You don't realize, but your TV may have turned on by itself, and, for a few seconds, you watched.